Good morning, guys. Some of you guys have been asking me for tips on how to become an entrepreneur or self-employed. So here are my 9 tips. Tip number 1 is that a niche that's obvious to you isn't obvious to everyone else. And this is sounds really basic and retarded, but it's really true. I guess how I started my channel is I went on YouTube and I wanted to find a student or someone that recently graduated to talk about mechanical engineering, and then there was no videos. So then I made my first, I guess it wasn't my first video, but I made my mechanical engineering video, and it was a pretty big success for taking 30 minutes of my time. I think it has 100,000 views now, and it's a really shitty video. It's completely, really really shitty. Let's take a moment to look how shitty it is. Making my second video today, and I noticed, and that video, even though how shitty it is, made me almost $400 now, which is pretty crazy. So I saw a niche that needed to be filled. It was making engineering career videos on YouTube, and I didn't see any that were good or relatable at all. So then that's why I made mine, and so I filled that niche. Another example is I have a friend who makes macaroons, and she, is really into that world. She read a lot of books on making macaroons. She knows how to make macaroons, and what she noticed was a lot of macaroon stores, they were not making really unique flavors. They're just making the same flavors. And so she found a way to make tequila macaroons, tropical fruit macaroons, and a bunch of flavors that sea salt caramel. I don't know, she made a lot of flavors that other people weren't making because she saw that a lot of the other macaroon stores were just making the same flavors as each other. Yeah, she only recently opened up her store 2 months ago. It's called Honey and Butter. It's in Costa Mesa. If you guys are in the area, you guys should check it out. It's at the Anti-Lab. So tip number 2 is from Peter Drucker. He wrote a little manual thing called Managing Oneself. It's published in the Harvard Review. And actually, I'll include a link to it in the description. It's free. You can just print it out. It's 10 pages. But he talks in this essay, I don't know what to call it. He says you can only build on strength. Right? If you build on a weakness, you're gonna have to work very hard just to become mediocre at it. But if you build from a strength, you put that same effort and you'll become excellent at something. Something else he talks about is figure out the way how you learn. Figure out how you learn, which is really important. And I never really thought about this, but he said, some people learn from reading, some people learn from listening, some people learn from listening to themselves talk. For me, it took me a long time to figure this out, but I learned from pacing. I like to pace around when I'm thinking of ideas or figuring out a problem. So figure out how you learn, because that'll help a lot in not even just being self-employed, but also in studying. So tip number 3 is stop making excuses. I was a volunteer at this event where they brought in high schoolers. It's called YES, and the organization's called APEX, Asian Professional Exchange. And I was a discussion leader where I sat at a table and I helped high school students talk about career stuff. And they put me at the entertainment table because I think they're worried that they wouldn't get enough people that work in the entertainment industry. They only put me in there because I have a YouTube channel. I guess it counts as entertainment or arts. So they put me at this table with high school students, and I was telling the high school students dude, start your channel now. If you want to. By the way, random fact, okay, people that are in high school now, they aspire to be YouTubers. My generation, when we were growing up in high school, I guess if we aspired to be a celebrity, it'd be we aspire to be Brad Pitt or something. But the generation now, that's 14 to 18 now, that want to work in entertainment, they want to be YouTubers. It's kind of crazy. So I was telling these high school students, dude, start your channel now, now. And I don't know, high school students are the king of excuses, because I think that's the age where it's still okay to make excuses. They're saying things I don't have a good enough camera yet, and all that bullshit. Look, if you look at my older videos, look at my first video, the only majors to go to college for. That video has made me $400, and it looks shittier than anything you can record with the phone today. It's really bad. If you learn some basics with lighting and get good lighting, even a cell phone, even today's cell phone, I have a Samsung S4, whatever. I don't know. But anyhow, I shoot with this thing all the time, and with proper lighting, it's actually a really good camera. It shoots 1080p and everything. Moral of the story is, dude, start today. I think Felix Dennis in his book The Narrow Road to Success, he's the guy who created Maxim magazine, a billionaire publisher. He said, think big but act small. And acting small means, if you want to be a YouTube star, putting your first video up as soon as possible. Tip number 4 is usually you'll have to work for someone else first in most things you'd ever want to start. I remember I was on a date. This girl's never gonna want to date me again. But I was on a date, and this girl was talking about how she wants to open a boba store because she had all these great ideas on what to do, like different flavors and different drinks and like alcoholic boba. And she's talking about like opening a boba store. So I asked her, like, have you ever worked in a boba store before? And she's like, no, I never worked at a boba place. I was like, oh, that'd be a great place to start. If you ever want to open like a boba like store, you should probably work at a boba place. Like that's a little I don't know, obvious, right? And then she was saying things like, no, I don't want to work at a boba store. That's like beneath me. Like that's for like high school girls or whatever, like some shit. Like, or that's for like college girls. I don't want to work at a boba store. It's like, dude, if you ever want to like, first of all, like I was just sitting there, like I couldn't believe how retarded she was. I just like sat there for a minute and just soaked it in about the level of retardedness that is. Wow, I still can't believe it. Anyhow, so last week I was volunteering at an event called the Sake Express, which was this event held by the Little Tokyo Center in Los Angeles. And so they rented out like this big section of Union Station, this outside area. And so they had about 20 sake booths and then about 10 different food vendors. And so I was assigned to a vendor or booth called Popped Up. And so they specialize in Asian cuisine and Asian desserts. That day we're making Thai popsicles, which is made like you stick a bunch of like raw, like basically tubes in this like metal thing and you spin it around, and inside there's rocks, sea salt, and ice, and it freezes it like then and there. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. It makes a lot of noise, and it was pretty popular that day. So I'm volunteering for her. I'm helping her with her booth, one of the co-owners, and she told me that she had 15 years of experience in the restaurant industry and 7 years of experience bartending, and she barely started Popped Up a couple months ago. So I guess they're starting off as a booth, and they're just doing catering right now. And she told me that they're usually at the 626 Asian Night Market. If you guys live in SoCal and you're Asian, you probably heard of it. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that just goes to show that experience does matter. Number 5 is read a lot. I've read a lot of millionaires' books. Not necessarily about becoming rich, but just their books, whether it's their biography or their like self-help book, or it is their how to get rich book. And the most common trend I find among all millionaires, and I met a couple millionaires in person too, is that they all read a substantial amount. And if you're like 18 years old and you don't read yet, or you're like 17 you don't read yet, don't feel bad. Like I didn't start reading until 21 or 22, but then once I started reading, I got like hooked on it because I saw all the benefits of reading. Like it's like, whoa, this book changed my reality. And then I started reading a lot more after that. So I'd recommend reading. Like reading can improve your skill at anything that you want to improve on. I have friends that got out of relationships and then they're reading relationship books. For me right now, I'm reading comedy books. Like I'm reading the Comedy Bible, Comedy Writing Secrets, and the Fundamentals of Acting. And it's actually helped my my comedy on this channel quite a bit. So I know like traditionally you think comedy is something you just are, like you're just born with it, but it really depends on how you learn. Like some people can watch comedy and then emulate it and then just like do it that way. But for me, like the way I learn, I need the structure broken down and then I'll understand it a lot better. That's just the way I learn. So number six is assume everyone's retarded. This is like actually a belief I actually deeply have. Like I think a lot of people, like when they compare themselves they usually compare themselves to people that are really successful, and I think that has its place because it motivates you to like step up to the next level. But like being realistic, like most people are fucking retarded, right? Like if you ever go to a Walmart and then look at the general population, like people, like this is what I see when I go to Walmart, right? I see a bunch of like 15, 13-year-olds that are like really confused about life, and then there are parents that look like they don't know shit about life either. And so it's basically like a, I don't know, like a parent that hates their fucking job trying to raise a kid that that probably won't amount to anything because, I don't know, bad genetics, bad you know, parenting, and then on top of that, most people are just lazy. I read a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and he says, you know, information is not the problem. Like, a lot of people think the reason why they're not successful is because they don't have enough information. But we live in an age where there's more information than ever. Like, most of the things that you want to learn is on the internet. Yeah, there's a couple things that aren't, but in terms of like most things, like learning how to do web design, learning how to do photography, learning how to do editing, probably how like most acting, like most things are on the internet for you to learn. And yet we have people that don't take advantage of it. So use that to your advantage, right? That people aren't taking advantage of all the information that's available to them. Also, people today like waste time like no other, right? Like, I know a lot of girls like bitch at their boyfriends, like, you spend so much time on League of Legends, right? Or you spend so much time playing Call of Duty. But then I see what girls like waste their time on. They spend like 4 hours on Tumblr or 4 hours on Instagram. Like, everybody, guys and girls have their huge time wasters. So since everybody else is wasting their time, that creates an opportunity to surpass them. Like, I legitimately, like, dude, if you want to know how retarded the general population is, just go on like Facebook for 1 hour and scroll through what the shit people post. Like, there's some people on my Facebook friends, like, they're acquaintances, but I seriously think like their full-time job must be like posting shit on Facebook, because like every hour or so they post, like, it would be like a viral article, like cat jumping on a couch. The next thing they post an hour later is like inspirational quote, like, work hard, play hard. And the next thing they'll post is like a selfie. Like, dude, literally the general population's like really fucking retarded. Like, that's the general population. So there's a motivational speaker. His name is Eric Thomas. I listened to his audiobook. I think it was like Great Success or 6 Keys to Success or something like that. But he says, I'm allergic to average.
Said 1,000,000 times. Listen to me. I'm allergic. Are you hearing me? I'm allergic to average.
And I feel like the same way. Like, I see people that are average, and I just don't want to be their friend. And it's nothing personal. I think they're like kind people and they're caring people. But then I see like they just want an average life, and I'm afraid that average life will rub up on me. Yeah, and then also like James Altucher and his wife Claudia Altucher, they're coming out with a book called The Power of No. I listened to the podcast, and basically, to sum it up, it's like, dude, just say no to things that you know are bad for you. Like, either thoughts that are bad for you or people that are bad for you. And you know, for me recently, like, I just say no to things. Like, I'm 26, so then, you know, when you're young, you want to meet people and be open-minded and meet all sorts of people. And then around 26, you have a good idea, like, oh yeah, this person is just not gonna like benefit me in any way. Not that you should have friends only to benefit, but you know, you want friends that make you feel good or uplift you and stuff like that, right? So if you have someone that's like, you know, is gonna like bring you down or like make you dumber, then just say no. So number 7, you're gonna regret listening to this, but it's actually like you're not gonna be able to stop thinking. Okay, so number 7 is every dime you spend should have a ROI, or return on investment. I remember I was talking to a really successful industrial engineer back when I was still in school. He actually just happened to live in the same apartment complex as I did. And he said, he came up to me, we were talking, and he's like, you know, most rich people have $0 in their bank. And I was really confused. I was like, why do they have $0? Do they have it in stocks or something? And well, that's what it was. He says, you know, most rich people have $0 in their bank because they invested in something else. So he was an industrial engineer, but any extra money he would have, he would buy cars, to flip cars, like buy and sell cars. I'm sure he had some money in the bank, by the way. This is an over-exaggeration. But that really stuck with me, because pretty much any money sitting in your bank that you're not using is money being wasted. But it's really hard because, you know, when you're young, you don't know what to spend money on. You really don't, right? You really don't. I think when I was like 18, I spent a lot of money on like protein shakes and creatine. Like, in retrospect, I probably should have spent those on classes of learning things. But, you know, if you've been born and raised to be a consumer by consumer parents, like, they just work a normal job, and then every dollar they spend is just on consumer products. This habit is gonna be really hard to build up. It was really hard for me to build up because, you know, I come from consumer parents. They just work a normal job and they buy things. I think the first time I really spent money on my channel, my YouTube channel, I bought like an $80 webcam, and it took me about like 3 months of thinking before I actually bought it, because I was afraid of wasting $80. in retrospect, I should have like bought the $80 webcam right away, so I would have started my channel like 3 months earlier. But that like 3 months of me just idling, like, is it worth it? Should I buy the webcam? And then even like with the camera I bought now, I was a lot faster with buying it because I already had a track record of making money for my channel. So I figured, you know what? I have a track record of making money. It's gonna pay off for sure. And with the new camera, even I bought now, it was like $700 altogether with the memory card and the tripod. But it only took me like about 2 weeks of thinking, which is way faster, right? So again, it's something that you build up gradually as you build like more trust in yourself that you will make the money back as you spend more money. Tip number 8 is something I got from Chris Guillebeau in the $100 startup. He said, get your first sale out of the way as soon as possible. And he said that's when it goes from idea to realization. And this is something that really helped me a lot when I read this out of this book, because I think when I started charging for career consulting, I was not sure if people would buy. Like, I had no idea. Like, nobody else sells career advising sessions. Like, that's nothing. Well, I guess some people might, but for the most part, like, most people don't sell career advising sessions, right? So I wasn't sure like if people would buy it, if it had value. But he said, you know what? Just sell it for as cheap as possible. Like, have like a grand opening sale thing and charge really low. And so like I was charging like $15 a session, which was less than as much as I was getting paid as an engineer at the time. Like, it was like $7 an hour, like less than what I was getting paid as an engineer. But I just did it because for myself, you know, I wanted to see if it was possible to sell sessions. And then number 2, you know, I enjoy it more than engineering work. You know, it's like I feel like I'm helping someone. Also, another thing I learned from his book is that, you know, we often hear about like to make a startup company, you need like venture capitalists and like stuff like that. You need like capital funding or something like that. But in his book, he argues that if you start on your own, most startups start with $100 or less. And he in the book he references like a lot of different stories of people starting up their own companies with $100 or less. So number 9, I'll end with a quote from Felix Dennis, the guy who made Max Magazine. He's a billionaire from publishing. He says, if you wish to be rich, you must grow a carapace, a mental armor, not so thick as to blind you to well-constructed criticism and advice, especially from those you trust, nor too thick to cut off family and friends. And then he also, another quote that I really like, if you're unwilling to fail, sometimes publicly, and even catastrophically, you stand very little chance of ever getting rich. This is probably the number 1 thing I see with blocking people from starting their own thing, is like the fear of failure. Pretty much it is. Like, a lot of times they'll rationalize it saying things like, oh, like I don't have enough capital yet, or I don't have enough experience, or I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time is probably the number 1 excuse like I hear. Like, I don't have enough time. But really, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of just probably being afraid to fail, and especially failure and people looking at your failure. That was my video, guys. I hope you guys like it. 9 tips on becoming self-employed and becoming an entrepreneur or starting your own business. Tell me what you guys think of these tips in the comments below, and yeah, and always also leave your video ideas if you have them. If you guys want to check out my video on college debt, you can click on this video. And oh, apparently I said the fuck word a lot in that video. And if you guys want to check out my video where we're all rapists, you can click on the rape culture video, because I'm such a white knight. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.